talked about a simple full text search, and that's a search where the user types in 1 or 2 words and the full text of the items that are being searched are checked, and then responses are returned. Now let's talk about an advanced search. And by the way, both of these are, I would classify as search because the user has a question in some way, explicitly enters that question, and then the application returns answers to that question. So in that sense it's a query, in that sense it's a search, and that's why that's what gathers these two things together. So we talked about the simple search. Let's talk about an advanced search. In an advanced search, or what's also sometimes called a fielded search, more than just the words of the item are searched. In fact, the words plus some other values that you type in are searched. And so you see on your screen here a typical example of an advanced search. It often includes a full text search, so as part of that advanced search you can type in any words you want and you can get responses. But in addition, oftentimes you either type in words or choose from a drop-down list of words that also describe the item that you're trying to find. So that's an end-user description, but hopefully you can quickly move past that end-user description to talk about, or to frame an architectural description. And part of that architectural description would be we search the full text index for words, but we also search other indices, other usually metadata indices, but they don't have to be metadata indices the way that I described them in the past. You'll remember a metadata index is intrinsically an any index where you take certain qualities, elements, or attributes of the items and you group them together and you sort the item by the values. Doesn't have to be an any index, but it really is an index. It's a variety of indexes that are all presented on the screen simultaneously. The user makes choices from all of those indexes simultaneously, puts them all together, wraps them up in a query that's given to the application. The application parses that query, figures out which words that you've specified are part of which indexes, searches each of those indexes in turn, combines all the results together from those indexes, and then gives you back the same result set. And if you remember from the simple search example, the result set I said is a view of an item. It's a different transform or a different view or a different display of the items that are returned by the query, and the author or the architect can decide exactly which parts of the item are going to be returned from the query. So we have simple search, which searches one index. It searches the full text index, and then we have what's generally referred to as an advanced search or a fielded search that allows you often to do that full text search and augment it with other searches against various indexes that are applied to the items. And as I said, those indexes could be any, they could be metadata indexes, or they could be outie. They don't have to be metadata indexes, they could be any form of index that you've created. But generally speaking, they are indices. They are different indexes of the items that you're trying to search. So you can see here on the picture that's on your screen that we have a full text search, and in fact there's really two different kinds of full text search on this screen. One is a full text search restricted to titles only, so you can type in any word that's found in the title and it'll search an alphabetical index of all the words in all the titles of the items, and it'll give you results back from that. Another one says, I can't read it on my screen here, but it's a full text, searching all of the significant, or at least what the architects considered to be the significant text-bearing fields of the item, and it'll give you back returns from any of those fields. And then there are a set of drop-down lists. They don't look like drop-down lists on the screen, but they actually are drop-down lists. You click on them and they'll drop down a set of values. And those values are the index values, or the keyword values, from the indexes that also categorize these items. And so you gather them all up and you do a search. The only other one that's interesting to note here, and these are all just UI variations, user interface variations. They really have nothing to do with the indexes. These items are all indexed by a variety of indexes, and we can array those indexes and we can show them with the user input field of our choosing. The date is an interesting one because what you think you're entering in there is a range of dates from X to Y, and in fact what you're actually entering in there is constraints against a date index. All of the items are indexed by date, and all this says is give me items in the index that are greater than the date I enter in one field and less than the date I entered in the other field. So that's an advanced search. It depends on multiple indexes inside of an item, and we array all those indexes simultaneously on the screen, give you interesting user input widgets for specifying the index entries, but then behind the scenes we go back and we search a number of indexes and come up with results based on all of those indexes.